ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरम्। ओम सच्चिदानंदरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we were seeing the questions that Narad ji has asked Brahma ji. Now the source of this question, the reference of this question comes because Parikshit Raja has asked Shukdev ji about the creation. So Shukdev ji, after having invoked the Lord, he narrates to Parikshit Raja that Narad ji had asked similar questions to Brahma ji earlier, and Brahma ji himself, what reply he gave, that he narrates to Shukdev, to Parikshit Raja. So now in chapter 2, 5th discourse we were, the questions that Narad ji has asked are in this second line, second month shloka. Yad rupam yad adhishtanam yata srishtimidam prabho yat samstham yat param yatcha tat tattvam vadatattvataha. So he has given these questions, 6 questions. So yad rupam, what are the characteristics of this universe? So that is answered in the 14th verse. What is the shelter is answered in the 15th, 16th verse, and again it will come in the 6th chapter, 31st verse. How it is created, so the process of creation we will see now. It will be from 21 to 35. How is it conserved? Yat samstham. That will come in the 6th chapter in 39th verse. Yat param, what it depends upon, meaning what is the basis, substratum. That is 15th verse of this chapter and 32nd verse of the next chapter. And what is it composed of? Yatcha. That will come in the 6th chapter. First 16 verses and then again 23 to 30. So these are the specific verses giving the answer. And Narad ji having asked all these questions, that what is that because of which you are able to create, what is that power on which you meditate, then Brahma ji he started giving the answer that people think that it is I who am doing, because they don't know the source, they don't know the power behind me. Avijñāya param matta etavatvam yato hime. So people think that it is I am who is doing all this, but actually it is not so. Yena swarochisha vishvam rochitam rochayamyaham. Yatha arko agnihi yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakaha. So he says it is by the will of that Supreme Lord that all this happens. We have done till what? Till 18 or 14?
13, Swami. 11. 13.
13, 1, 3, Swami.
14, also 14.
Okay, got it. So we will do that from there. Tasmai namo bhagavate vasudevaya dhimahi yanmayaya durjayaya mam bruvanti jagadgurum. So he says, I salute that Vasudeva. that Supreme Lord Narayana. And now we should remember one thing here. What is the difference between Narayana and Brahmaji? So Brahmaji can create, Brahmaji is a position. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they are positions in this context. We should understand every Brahmanda has one Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. And there are countless Brahmandas like that. Narayana is the support of all these Brahmandas. So as you know, Brahmaji's life is for 100 years. Lifespan of Brahmaji is for 100 years. After that, someone else becomes Brahmaji. So every night of Brahmaji and every day of Brahmaji. So the creation happens in the day of Brahmaji and then Pralay happens. Then that is the night time of Brahmaji. Again the next day creation continues from where it left. So Brahmaji can create using the existing material and the unmanifest jivas and their karmas, etc. From there the creation comes forth. It is not his creation by himself independent. He is a medium through which this whole thing is happening. But Narayana is the source. Narayana doesn't depend on anyone. The absolute self, pure consciousness, doesn't depend on anyone. So Narayana is the independent source. Brahmaji is dependent on Narayana. That's why he says here that the Maya of that Lord is difficult to cross. It is that Maya whose Lord is Vasudeva. Yan Mayaya Durjayaya. And it is because of that people get deluded and they think I am the creator. Bruvanti Jagat Gurum. Vilajya Manaya Yasya Sthatum Iksha Pathe Amuya. Vimohita Vikathante Mamahamiti Durdhiyaha. Same thought process. Now, dravyam karma cha kalascha swabhavo jiva evacha vasudevat paro brahman nachanyo arthosti tattvataha. So now all these come from Vasudeva. Dravya means all the bodies and the material, the gross objects through which this is made. Karma is the ability to do action. Action and its ability, Kriya Shakti means. Kala, time. And Swabhava, each jiva's temperament according to the gunas and jiva themselves. Dravya, karma, kala, Swabhava, jiva. Vasudevat, they all come from Vasudeva, which is what I was saying, Brahmaji doesn't create on his own. These come from Vasudeva. So Vasudevat paro, Brahman. Vasudevat paro Brahman. Cha anyo arthosti tattvataha. Now you see that's what he says here. There is no substance other than Vasudeva. Anyo arthosti na tatparaha. There is nothing greater than that Vasudeva. Neither the elements, nor karma, nor time, nor swabhava, nor the individual soul. And all these come from Vasudeva. So this Vasudeva Paraha Brahman. No, there is nothing greater than Vasudeva. And you can also say these 5 also come from Vasudeva only. So this 14th one, so that is the answer for the first one. The characteristic of the universe is this, Yadrupa. These 5 things is the characteristic of the universe. Because without this universe will not happen. Without action, without time, without nature, without jivas, without the material, universe will not exist. From where this has come? From Vasudeva. Brahmaji is a medium who uses these to make this whole creation happen. So that is 14th verse. This will further get elaborated, so I'm not going into more detail right now. The next 3 lines are very beautiful about that Supreme Lord. Narayana Paraveda Deva Narayanangajaha Narayana Paraloka Narayana Paramakhaha Narayana Paro Yogo Narayana Param Tapaha Narayana Param Jnanam Narayana Paragatihi Tasyapi Drashtu Rishasya कूटस्थस्याखिलात्मनः सृज्यं सृजामि सृष्टोऽहम् ईक्षयैवाभिचोदितः. Very nice. Now he says, now what is the meaning of Narayana first of all? Narayan comes many times here now. Earlier it was Vasudeva. So we saw Vasudeva means one who resides in the hearts of all. And who is of the nature of illumination, consciousness. So Vasudeva means that. One meaning of Vasudeva is that. Then Narayana is used here. So Narasyayanam Narayana. The goal of human life is that Supreme Lord, consciousness. And Nara also means water. One whose abode is in water. Narayana. So that Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu we call him. So that's why Vishnu and Mahavishnu. So Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are for every Brahmanda. And Mahavishnu is the source of Brahmaji. That Mahavishnu is this Narayana. So Narayana para Vedaha. So he says Narayana is the goal of the Vedas. So all the Vedas help us to realize that supreme consciousness. Narayana para Vedaha. Deva Narayanangajaha. The Devatas also have come forth from the limbs of Narayana, from the body of Narayana himself. Then Narayana para Lokaha. Now these 14 lokas also are a part of Narayana's body. It will further come now, which is the head and which is the chest and all that. Now 14 lokas will be described. Once it has come earlier also. If you remember that Virat Roop when we did, Virat Upasana when we did, that time also it came. So Narayana para Lokaha. Then Narayana para Makhaha. Makha means ritual. So all the rituals also are based on Narayana or to reach Narayana. Narayana para Makhaha. Then Narayana paro yogaha. So all the yogas are meant to rediscover that Lord. Narayana param tapaha. All tapa is meant to experience that supreme. Narayana param jnanam. The supreme knowledge is Narayana. Narayana para gatihi. The means also is Narayana. Tasyapi drashtuhu ishasya. He is the seer. Drashta means the witness. The sakshi in all of us is the seer. He is the Lord himself. He never becomes the object. Sakshi is the ultimate observer, the subject who never becomes the object. Every other thing becomes the object, like the eyes. They are the seer, the objects are the seen. Then the eyes which are seer right now, they become the seen for the mind. So mind becomes the seer, eye is the seen. Then the intellect becomes the seer and mind becomes the seen. So each of these become the seer or the seen, depending on which position we take. But the self never becomes the seen. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik tad drishyam driktu manasam drishyadhi vrittaya sakshi drigeva natu drishyate. It comes in drig drishya vivek. That sakshi is the drig only. That sakshi is the drashta, is the seer, the ultimate seer who never becomes the seen. Meaning Bhagavan is never the object of experience. Body, mind, intellect cannot discover him. Then how to realize him? Through yoga. Transcend the attachment to BMI and unite with the self. That is the way to realize. So that's why Narayana paro yoga. Tasyapi drashtuhu and ishasya. And who is the drashta in us? He is the Supreme Lord. There is not different drashta in each one. Because some people think like that. The witness in me is different from witness in you. It is not different, it is one. Tasyapi drashtu ishasya kutasthasya akhilatmanaha. It is changeless. It is immutable. Kutastha. Kutasthasya akhila atmanah. It is the supreme self. Srijyam srijami. Srishtoham. Ikshayayvabhi choditaha. So he says that it is he who created me, and encouraged by his glance, I evolved this creation. Srijyam. Srijyam here means Brahmaji. I am Srijya, he says. Brahmaji is telling Naradji. I am Srijya, meaning I am created by him. And then I Srijami, I create. Srishtoham. And this whole Srishti I create. How? Ikshya eva abhicha oditaha. By his mere side glance. Meaning one small little, see the glance, how much, they say kataksha, just a side glance. Meaning such a tiny, what can we call, a unit of time, or for a short, very less, for a few moments or seconds, maybe one just glances. And in that glance, he enlivened Brahmaji. Empowered Brahmaji, we should say. Meaning an infinitesimal part of Narayana can enliven Brahmaji to create this whole Srishti. That means what is Narayana and where is he? In our heart as the Sakshi. Such a nice thing that is. See, all this is Advaita, no? In Vedanta, in Bhakti Shastra, in Bhagavatam, this is the Advaita Vedanta. Where clearly saying the self in me is the self in all, one. The self in me is the infinite consciousness. It is not different. And it is the same self which is enlivening the creator also. The Jiva also is empowered by Narayana, and Ishvara also. Ishvara in this context is Brahmaji. Hiranyagarbha, if you want to be technically precise. Hiranyagarbha, that is also empowered by this Narayana only. So the individuality and the totality both are empowered by Narayana. And it is, and how? Just by a side glance. Srashtoham ikshayvabhi choditaha. Now sattva rajas tama iti nirgunasya gunastrayaha. Sthiti sarga nirodheshu grihita mayaya vibhoho. Now sattva rajas tamas, they all are the three gunas. And he says, he is beyond that. Sattva rajas tama iti nirgunasya. The one who is nirguna, sattva rajas and tamas, he is beyond that. But it is his maya that takes up these three gunas, and these three happen. The creation, sustenance and destruction, they happen. So Maya is Trigunatmika. Brahman is beyond three gunas, that we know. Brahman, the power of Brahman is this Maya. Maya is that which has three gunas. Sattva rajas tamo gunatmika Maya asti. Brahmashraya is the power of Brahman. And so for this creation, that Brahman uses his power of Maya. Karya karana kartritve dravya jnana kriyashrayaha. Badhanti nityada muktam mayinam purusham gunaha. Now what happens with this? So he says here that Karya Karana Kartritve. So these are three things. Karya is the effect, Karana is the cause, and Kartritva is the doer. So the doer does the actions and gets the results. Karya Karana Kartritva. How does that happen? Through this Dravya Jnana Kriya, these three aspects. So generally we learn it as Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Here it is given in a little different way. Dravya is the body, Jnana is the knowledge, and Kriya is the ability to do action. So this body can do action using the knowledge. these aspects, badhnanti nityada muktam, they as though bind. That which is free appears to be bound, mayinam purusham gunaha. So these gunas, etc., they bind this individual. So through the agency of the elements, the senses, and the gods presiding over the senses, these gunas bind the individual soul who is subject to Maya, though ever free in essence, with the consciousness that he is the physical body, the senses, and the mind all in one. Badnanti nityada muktam mayinam purusham guna. Saesha Bhagavan lingaihi tribirebhiradhokshajaha swalakshita gatir brahman sarvesham mama cheshwaraha. He says that same Lord who transcends the sense perception envelops himself beyond recognition with these three sheets of matter. He is the ruler of all beings as well as of myself, O Narada. So he has now answered how he creates the universe. By the glance of Bhagavan, Narayana, he creates this whole universe. And how this whole universe is created by Brahmaji, that he will explain now. The process he will explain now. But what is the power behind him that makes him create, and that also becomes all the jivas and appears as bound? That power is Narayana. Why he appears as bound? Because of his own Maya. Now, why does the Lord create? If somebody asks that question. Now see, this question is always there in human mind. Why did Bhagavan create this world? From Vedantic standpoint, this question has a assumption. It has an assumption that creation is real. That creation came into being, and now I'm asking the reason for it. Creation is real. Now, any answer which is given, we should remember it is not to say that creation is real. It is only to give us some reasoning to quieten the buddhi so that we are able to go to the cause, the substratum. And when we realize the substratum, we realize that this is not even there. So now different theories are given, different reasons are given. Now here he says that Atma, the 21st verse he says, Kalam karma swabhavam cha mayesho mayaya swaya Atman yadrichaya praptam vibhubhushu rupadade. So he says he is one only. Now Bhagavan is one, infinite consciousness. Now he desired to become many. Atman yadrichaya praptam vibhubhushu rupadade. So he says, intent upon becoming many, the Lord of Maya assumed at will by his own Maya these three, Kala, Karma and Swabhava. Mayesho Mayaya Swaya. With his Maya, he created this. Now, Kala, Karma and Swabhava. Time, creation exists only in time. Time can come only when there is, time can be experienced only when there is some thought with the, what we call, with the gap between two thoughts, we can understand time. Bhagavan was one singularity, which science also says in the beginning creation was a singularity. There was only one. So whatever they call it as dot or something, and then the Big Bang happened. So there was no thought, it is all beyond thought. Then comes time, then comes this karma. That is the karma of the jivas. And this karma is according to their swabhava. So Bhagavan created all of that. Now if you say, but what was the first one? There is no first one. It just started. Like how the dream happens. We may give some sequence. I had said last time, sequence does not imply it is not a projection. We may give some sequence, this came first, this came next, this came next. But that doesn't mean it is not a projection, it is not a dream. It happened, the projection happened, the waker is alone, then the waker using the power of dreaming becomes the dreamer, and then the dreamer creates the whole world. Based on what? The impressions which are there in the waker's mind, created. Of course, that example has a limitation. You may say Narayana's mind, what is existing? Everything is existing in Narayana's mind only. In that one infinite, everything is included. Now, what is excluded out of infinite? Nothing. One who is beyond time, beyond space, beyond objects, we saw just now. Karya, Karana, Kartatva is beyond all this. But by the power of Maya, he assumes to become bound. Like the waker is free all the time. But using the power of dreaming, the waker becomes a dreamer and projects the whole dream world. So don't ask that question that what was the basis for this time and dravya, karma and this svabhava. It manifested. Why? Because Bhagavan thought from one I want to become many. So all these came. Simple. But then we are responsible. So that is from Jiva standpoint, we say Jiva is responsible as long as Jiva is a human being. So that one can do Purusharth and realize the Supreme. But if one of the aspects to realize is also to understand that Jiva is zero, Jiva is nothing. Everything is Ishvara only, is Brahman. When Brahmaji himself is saying, I am not doing anything by my own will, it is only by glance of Bhagavan that I am doing, then what to talk about Jiva? That's why they say, no, Jahi vidhi rakhe Ram, tahi vidhi rahiye. Because at a higher level in bhakti, there is nothing to blame oneself also. Now, please remember that's a higher level. That is not an escapism. That is not to say I should not do Purusharth. One knows that this Purusharth also is Bhagavad Kripa only. So one will do what one has to do. One will follow the path of Dharma because Bhagavan is sitting and inspiring inside. It's not to become tamasic saying I won't do my duty because anyway it is all God only who is doing all this. So Jiva is not even responsible for anything. Bhagavan is doing through the Jiva only. Karta bhav is there in the Jiva. Through that the karma is being done as per the swabhav. And then the karma phala also the Jiva has to experience. Bhagavan is experiencing that through the Jiva only. Like the electricity passes through the bulb, then light comes. The bulb has to be in the right condition, otherwise light will not come. So in the same way, so Kala and Dravya, Kala, Karma and Swabhava. These three, by his Maya, Bhagavan only created. It has been there in the latent form, unmanifest form. Bhagavan manifests it. Kalat guna vyatikaraha parinama swabhavataha karmano janma mahataha purushadhishtitad abhut. So now he says there is a samya avastha of all the three gunas. So typically in Vedanta, in Upanishads also this explanation comes that in Brahman, here that Brahman is Narayana. That in that Brahman there is no disturbance, there is no creation also. There is only one pure consciousness, Brahman. Like in the waker, there is no dream. So Maya also is dormant. The power to dream is dormant in the waker. Then the waker may invoke the power to dream. Same way Maya is invoked by Bhagavan, that is said here. And then Kala, Karma, Swabhava as though is invoked. How Maya we saw is three gunas. So Samya Avastha is when there is no creation. When all the three gunas are in the same, in equilibrium, there is no creation. When that equilibrium is disturbed, what disturbs that equilibrium? Thought. Here it is given as time. You should not mix up. That's why I said time is thought. Thought is time. Without that, either of them won't exist. They both are actually one. We measure time chronologically, psychologically as distance between two thoughts. Otherwise, in Vedanta, we use time and thought as synonyms also. Here it is like that. Kala is used. In Upanishad, it is said, Sa ikshata, he desired or he thought. Aitareya Upanishad said, Sa ikshata lokanusruja iti. The Lord thought that let me become many, let me create the world. Or somewhere else it is said in the Upanishad, Ekoham bahusyama. I am one, let me become many. That is called thought. So here it is used as time. So this thought or time disturbed this equilibrium of sattva, rajas, tamas. And the moment that equilibrium is disturbed, then what happens? Creation will start. So kalat guna vyatikaraha. Now because of this, there is a disturbance in the gunas, three gunas. Kalat. Parinama swabhavataha. And this swabhava transforms them. Who? These three gunas. And the jivas. Then what happens? Parinama swabhavataha. Karmano janma mahataha. Now Mahat is born. So this Brahman is the absolute state, no creation. Then the next state is called Pradhan. Pradhan is where all the three gunas are in the equilibrium state. Bhagavan has invoked the Maya, three gunas are there, but in equilibrium state, no creation. Then when that Pradhan gets disturbed by the thought, we are called as time. Then this rest of the things come, and then comes Mahat. Mahat is the total mind. Mahat Purusha Adhishthanad Abhut. So Mahat was born, the total mind, total intelligence. Here it is given as cosmic intelligence. All this is functioning how? Adhishthanad Abhut, from the substratum, which is Narayana. That one should not forget. One generally forgets that Narayana. Mahatastu Vikurvanad Rajas Sattvopa Brahmitat. Tamapradhanas Tvabhavat Dravya Jnana Kriyatmakaha. Now he says from Mahat, it was dominated by Rajas and Tamas. Vikurvanad Rajaha Sattva. So, Rajas and Sattva, sorry. Tamas body will come. So Rajas and Sattva. What happened from there? From Mahat, as it underwent transformation, dominated as it was by Rajas and Sattva, emanated an evolute which was dominated by the element of Tamas and was made up of three factors, Dravya, Jnana and Kriya. From these two comes the third aspect, Tamapradhanastu Abhavat. This tamasic srishti will come now. The body, etc., will come from this tamasic aspect. So here, the sequence we have to see. From this Mahat, see, please remember one thing I told last class also. The objective of understanding this is not to say that creation is real. Objective is to know that all this is appearance of Brahman. One. Two, it is a projection. It is not real. So there will be differences in theories of creation. Do not assume that there is only one theory of creation, because there cannot be one, because it didn't happen. Something which has not happened, we are trying to explain because we are stuck right now in this. So Tattva Bodh theory of creation different. Upanishad theory of creation different. Now here you will see different theory of creation. Now here what is said, from this Mahat Tattva, which is in Sattva and Rajas, the Tamo Guna is born. You may suddenly feel, hey, this is not understood. This is not understood. That is the fact. From Mahat Tattva, Rajas and Tamas in that state, now the Tamo Guna evolute is born. That is called Ahankara. And that ahankara has these three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Huh? That is what is confusing. It is like that only. You see that. From Mahat it underwent transformation, rajas, tamas emanated, evolved, which was dominated by tamas. And which was made up of these three factors now. Sattva, rajas, tamas here mean this dravya, jnana and kriya. Okay. Dravya is tamas, jnana is sattva and kriya is rajas. So from the tamas, from rajas and sattva, mahat tattva comes the ahankara, which is tamas. Why ahankara is tamas there? Because of his ignorance of the real self, the pure consciousness, non-apprehension. And from there now comes these three: dravya, which will be cause for the body, and then jnana, and then kriya. So from each of these, there will be now further things which will come. So dravya, jnana, and kriya. Dravya, jnana, kriyatmakaha. So ahankara iti prokto vikurvan samabhut tridha. He says from this tamasic ahankar, the 5 gross elements are born. Samabhut tridha. Vaikarikas taijasascha tamasascheti yad bhida. Dravya shakti, kriya shakti, jnana shakti riti prabho. Yeah. So this was known by the name ahankara and became threefold as it underwent transformation. Its 3 varieties are Vaikarika, Satvika, Taijasa, Rajasika and Tamasa, which are severally predominated, O Narada, by the force of Jnana, Kriya and Dravya. So that's why I said Jnana, Kriya, Dravya are called here as Vaikarika, Taijasa and Tamasa. So Tamasa is the Dravya, Kriya is this Taijasa, and Vaikarika is the Jnana. Then he says, from this tamasic ahankar, the origin of 5 gross elements as it underwent transformation was evolved, ether. Now the 5 elements will come out. Tamasadapi bhutadehe vikurvanad abhun nabhaha. Nabha means space. Tasya matra guna shabdo lingam yad drashtra drishyayoho. So now this shabda is created and the sound is the element. Nabha is the space and sound is its object. So he said now that the underwent transformation was evolved ether. Shabda is the subtle form as well as the distinctive characteristic of this element. And it is sound which furnishes a clue to the seer and the seen. This one thing I have to clarify. I have to go a little deeper on this. I can't understand this one. Drishya, drashtra drishyayoho. Tasya matra guna shabdaha lingam yad drashtra drishyayoho. Space is created. Sound is the object of that space. That is clearly understood. It is sound which furnishes a clue to the seer and the seen. Okay. So here seer and the seen is not in the sense of the drashta, the absolute sakshi. The seer and the seen is in the form of that sound. So here he says that when a person says, example given here is, suppose someone standing behind a wall loudly exclaims, elephant, elephant. Here it is this ejaculation that indicates the presence of the man who sees the elephant as well as of the object he sees. So the sound elephant, elephant indicates both the elephant and the person who is seeing. So sound can indicate both. So he says that is the quality here. The sound will indicate the seer and the seen. Yeah. Distinctive character of this element, and it is sound which furnishes a clue to the seer and the seen. So if you have got a little confused till now what we have done, I will just summarize. So there is Brahmaji, there is Bhagwan Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who is symbol of Brahman. He invokes his power of Maya. And with his one side glance, he empowers Brahmaji as well as all the jivas also get power from him actually. But how does that happen? So this Brahma, this Lord, he wants to become many. So he invokes Kala, Karma and Swabhava. So now Kala, Karma, Swabhava are the fuel for the creation to happen. But the creation will still not happen because the three gunas are in Samya Avastha, that is called as Pradhana Avastha. Pradhana is actually the material cause of this universe in the unmanifested state, because the three gunas are remaining in the unmanifested state in equilibrium. Now that when it gets disturbed, that Pradhan becomes Mahat Tattva, cosmic intelligence, which is a subtle thought. In our life also we see every action happens first as a thought in the mind. If you are attending Bhagavatam right now, you are physically attending, you are online sitting in front of a computer and attending, but it is a manifestation of a thought. Thought is a manifestation of an unmanifest desire. That unmanifest desire, Vasana we call it, Vasana will manifest as a desire to learn, then the thought will manifest that 11:30 I have to log in, and then you actually log in at 11:30. So that's the general sequence of creation in any case. So that's how from unmanifest Pradhan to cosmic intelligence, which is Mahat Tattva. Now this Mahat Tattva has Sattva and Rajas. And a combination of these two, Sattva and Rajas, will give rise to the Mahat Ahankar, which is the total ignorance, which is predominantly tamasic. In that, there are these three now. Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti and Dravya Shakti. Now, Jnana, Kriya and Dravya are these powers which are there in this Ahankara. Now what happens? From the Dravya Shakti, the five elements will come now. So that is what we are seeing right now. From the Dravya Shakti, the tamasic aspect, the five elements are evolving with their objects. So space is created and then the sound. Now from space, air will come and touch. From air, fire will come, the form. From fire, water will come, taste. And from water, earth will come, that is the smell. That process is very simple and clear to us, that we have studied in Tattva Bodh also, that comes. So, Nabhasotha Vikurvanad Abhut Sparsha Guno Anilaha Paranvayat Shabdavanscha Prana Oja Sahovalam Vayorapi Vikurvanat Kala Karma Swabhavataha Udapadyata Tejo Vai Rupavat Sparsha Shabdavat Tejasastu Vikurvanad Asid Ambho Rasatmakam Rupavat Sparshavat Chambho Ghoshavacha Paranvayat. Now that continues. Visheshastu Vikurvanaha Ambaso Gandhavan Abhut Paranvayad Rasa Sparsha Shabda Rupa Gunanvitaha Vaikarikan Manojagne Deva Vaikarika Dasha Digvatarka Prachetoshvi Vanhin Dropendra Mitrakaha Tejasatu Vikurvanad Indriyani Tejasatu Vikurvanadi Indriyani Dashabhavan Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti Buddhi Pranascha Tejasau Shrotram Tvad Grana Drig Jihva Vag Dorme Drangri Payavaha. What does this mean? Basic simple point here is that every element is the subtler element gives rise to the grosser element. So space has the quality of sound. From space comes air. Air has the quality of touch plus the earlier elements quality. So touch and sound. Then from there comes fire. So fire has form plus touch plus sound. Then comes water. So water has taste plus touch plus sound plus form. And then comes the earth. Earth has smell. So earth has all the five. So now that is what happens. So that's what we did till now. Yeah, that is till 29 that goes on. From the element of water, even as it underwent transformation, came into being earth, which is characterized by quality of smell as well as by the quality of taste, color, touch and sound, which it has inherited from its chain of causes, which are earlier four elements. Now, this came from where? The tamasic ego, from the dravya. Then what happens? From the sattvic ego, which is now verse 30. So from this sattvic ego sprang the cosmic mind as well as the deity presiding over the same, that is moon. And the 10 deities severally presiding over the 5 senses of perception and 5 organs of action. The Dig Devatas, wind god, sun god, Varuna, Ashwini Kumar, the god of fire, Indra, Lord Vishnu, younger brother of Indra and therefore called Upendra. Now this Lord Vishnu is a Devata, okay? Oh God, this is so confusing. It is confusing now what to do. One Vishnu is a preserver. One Mahavishnu is the one who is the cause of all this. And now this Vishnu is a small Devata. Small Devata means he's a Devata who is taking care of the movement, the feet. We have studied all this in Tattva Bodh, so I am rushing through this. These are all the Devatas, Shrotrasya Dig Devata, Tvacho Vayuhu, Granasya Ashwinau, Rasanayaha Varunaha. And these are the Devatas of the senses. Chakshusha Suryaha. We have seen all that earlier in Tattva Bodh. Same way for the senses of action. For hands it is Indra, for legs it is Upendra. Upendra means that demigod Vishnu. Padayoho Vishnu or Upendra. Then Vacho Devata Vanni. Speech is fire. Agni Devata. And reproduction is Mitra, and then Upastha is Yama. Yeah. So Mitra and Prajapati. Yeah. So Upasthasya Prajapati, actually. Prajapati is the deity for the reproduction. Prajapati, yes. Now these came from Sattvic. Why? Because Sattva Guna is knowledge oriented. So the senses of action. Here it is actually said senses of knowledge and action both came from the Sattvic aspect. In Tattva Bodh we have learned it comes from Rajasic aspect. That's why I'm saying there will be subtle differences. It doesn't matter. From the Rajasic ego, as it underwent transformation, were evolved 10 Indriyas, senses of perception. So these Devatas have come from the Sattva Guna, and then the Indriyas are now coming here. So this Rajasic ego underwent transformation will evolve the 10 Indriyas. So 5 we have understood in Tattva Bodh as 5 coming from the Sattvic aspect of 5 elements, and that is senses of knowledge, and the Rajasic aspect of 5 elements gives rise to the 5 senses of action. But here it is said from the Rajasic aspect all the 10 senses are born. From the Sattvic aspect the total mind and the Devatas are born for all the senses. From Rajasic aspect all the 10 Indriyas are born. So seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, grasping, locomotion, speaking, evacuation, reproduction, all the 10. And then he says the intellect, which is the faculty of cognition, and the prana, which is the faculty of action, are also evolutes of Rajasic ego. There it is Sattva Guna, which gives rise to Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, and prana comes from Rajasic aspect, the total aspect of the five elements. But here it comes completely. All the 10 senses plus the buddhi is born from, and prana is born from the Rajasic aspect. So what happened? From the tamasic aspect came the 5 elements, and the body is made up of these 5 elements. The 5 tanmatras and 5 elements. Then from that is Dravya Shakti. Then from Kriya Shakti came the prana and the 10 senses of knowledge and action. And from the Jnana Shakti, which is Sattva Guna, came the 10 devatas and the cosmic mind. So now this is the Srishti Kram which has happened. So he explained now this is the whole process. From Narayana, how this whole thing manifested. So he says the next one he goes on to all these they have been created, but they cannot function. So he says, you see, so long as these categories, the gross elements, indriyas, mind, and the 3 gunas, or the modes of prakriti remain disassociated, they could not erect a house in the form of a body. Then, urged by God's power, they combined with one another and, assuming between themselves the role of cause and its effect, produced both the cosmic and the individual body. So these elements have got created, but only when empowered by the will of the Lord, grace of the Lord, they come together. So that's what he says here. Yadaite asangata bhava bhutendriya manogunaha yadayatana nirmane na shekur brahmavittamaha tada samhatya chanyonyam bhagavat shakti choditaha. With the grace of the Lord's power, because they are by themselves jada, how do they know what to do? 5 elements have come out, devatas, all of these have come out. But now what to do? The main driving force is the will of the Lord. So Bhagavat Shakti Choditaha Sad Sattvam Upadaya Cha Ubhayam Sasrajur Yadaha. So then they started mixing amongst each other. And what did they produce? The individual body and the cosmic body. Varsha Puga Sahasrante Tad Andam Udakeshayam Kala Karma Swabhavastho Jivo Ajivam Ajivayat. Very confusing this can become. For 1,000 years, this was as it is as an egg. You see, the macrocosm in the form of an egg lay on the causal waters in a lifeless condition for 1,000 years. With the help of time as well as of the destiny and innate disposition of the individual souls, however, at the end of this period, the Lord infused life into this egg. The idea is only to understand that without Bhagwan's grace, nothing happens. All this may be there. We think that all these functions on their own, so we forget the Lord. But Brahmaji is saying that these by themselves cannot function. Even if the will of the Lord is there and they are mixed with each other, until the Lord's grace doesn't function completely, they will remain lifeless only. So with the will of the Lord, they mixed, and again then they stayed for 1,000 years. Again after that, is Bhagwan infuses life into them, and then that cosmic egg burst open. This is all happening in the mind, it seems. In the cosmic mind, this whole thing is happening. Srishti has not happened yet. It is all happening in the cosmic mind. This whole Srishti. That's why it's called Brahma Anda. Brahmanda means what? The cosmic egg. That is this cosmic egg is this macrocosm. Tad andam udakeshayam. Kala karma subhavasto jivo ajivam ajivayat. Lifelessly it was there. Then Bhagavan infused life into it. Then what happened? Bursting open, this cosmic head issued there from the same supreme person with thousands of thighs, feet, arms, eyes, thousands of faces and heads too. So from this egg came this whole Srishti, which is actually the form of Bhagavan. What we have learnt in Purusha Suktam. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. That is that. See. Sayesha Purushaha Tasmadandam Nirbhidya Nirgataha. It burst open and this Virat Purusha came out. Sahasro Arvangri Bahvakshaha Sahasra Anana Shirshavan. Right. So all this happened. Virat Roop came out. So what does that mean? Every head of the Lord, every head is the head of the Lord. Don't imagine one Virat Purusha is there. For our Upasana, we may do that to get out of Jiva Bhav. But otherwise, you should not imagine that there is one such Purusha like that somewhere. No, all the heads belong to the Lord, meaning everybody is divine, appearance of the same supreme truth. So he says it is in his limbs that the wise locate various worlds comprised in the universe. Now this Virat Purusha, in this Virat Purusha are all the lokas also. So you see the 7 lower spheres below his waist and the 7 higher spheres above his hip and loins. Now Brahmana represents the mouth of the cosmic being, Kshatriya his arms, Vaishya from the thighs and the Shudra from the feet. This has come earlier in Virat Roop also. So these 14 lokas, when they are there, you see they explain Satyaloka is the head, Tapoloka is the lips, Janaloka is the neck, Maharloka is the chest, Swarga is the heart, Bhuvarloka is navel to heart, Bhuloka is the navel, Atala is the waist, Vitala is the thigh, Sutala is the knees, Talatala is the calves and shanks. Then Mahatala is the ankle, Rasatala is the upper portion of the feet, Patala is the sole of the feet. So these 14 lokas are like that. Where is that described? In this 36 to 42 is describing that. So you see that. Bhuloka kalpita padhyam bhuvarlokasya nabhitaha tridaswarloka urasa maharloko mahatmanaha grivayam janalokascha tapoloka stanadvayat मूर्धभिः सत्यलोकस्तु ब्रह्मलोक सनातनः तत्कट्याम चातलम तृप्तम उरुभ्याम वितलम विभो जानुभ्याम सुतलम शुद्धम जांघाभ्याम तु तलातलम महातलम तु गुल्फाभ्याम प्रपादाभ्याम रसातलम पातालम पादतालत इति लोकमय पुमान भूर्लोक कल्पित पद्भ्याम भुवर्लोकस्य नाभितः स्वर्लोके कल्पितो मूर्धना इति वा लोक कल्पना. So 3 kalpanas are given here of the Virat Purush. One kalpana of Virat Purush is all the 14 worlds constitute this Virat Purush, which I just read now. The other one is of the 4 varnas. So Brahmana is the head, Kshatriya is the chest, and then the Vaishya is the thighs, and the Shudra is the feet. That's the second kalpana. Then the third kalpana is only the 3 lokas, Bhur, Bhuva, Suvaha. So only the last line gives that. So the chest to head is the Swarloka, navel is the Bhuvarloka, and below the legs are the Bhuloka. So legs are Bhuloka, navel is the Bhuvarloka, and chest to head is the Swarloka. Whichever kalpana one wants, one can use that kalpana and meditate on the Lord. So this is one aspect with this chapter concludes, where we have seen the process of creation from the unmanifest to subtle creation, then to the gross. Unmanifest is the Narayana. Then this whole Mahat Tattva, Pradhan, Mahat Tattva, Ahankar, then the elements, then the various, the objects of those elements, then the cosmic mind, the intellect, the pranas, the jiva with their svabhava, karma, kala, all this is the subtle srishti. It is existing. It exists by itself without any life. For 1,000 years like this, it exists just there. Then with the grace of Bhagavan, this cosmic egg bursts forth, and then the sthul srishti happens in the form of the Virat Purusha. And that Virat Purusha is, we saw the 3 kalpanas of that Virat Purusha. Now this will go ahead a little more, where Brahmaji will explain about this, what we have just done, what he just covered in one line, that Purusha Suktam, no? That Virat Purusha became all the 1,000 eyes and all these. That he will explain further in the next chapter. So that we will take up in our next class. Anything to ask in today's class? You are welcome.
Swamiji, we need dates for next class.
I will put on the group.
Yeah, Swamiji, so I want to know the entire purpose of knowing this detailing of the creation. That we know that Narayan Bhagwan or Mahavishnu or Brahman is the thing, but what is the purpose of the detailing?
The purpose is broadly to understand the Srishti Kram, because some people are interested in the Srishti Kram. They want to know, which will ultimately make them quieten their mind and intellect, because as long as the doubts and agitations are there, the mind cannot turn within. The objective of giving these answers is, when the intellectual curiosity is satisfied, then a person is able to transcend the buddhi. Without satisfying the buddhi, it is not possible to transcend the buddhi. Number 1. Number 2, how the Lord creates is also to be understood, to understand our insignificance. What is Bhagavan and who am I? As a small ego, as little ego, I am zero, I am nobody. Look at the creation, how it happens, and what is and this is one Brahmand. Please remember, this is one Brahmand. Ananta Koti Brahmand Nayak is Bhagavan Mahavishnu. So it is to show my insignificance and to make me surrender. If Brahmaji himself is saying that I am creating because of Mahavishnu's power, then what is the ego that you and I have? So it is for us to surrender our ego to that cosmic Lord. Third, it is also to say that the same Lord is there in the hearts of all the beings. So that's how our culture respects and reveres everybody as divine. So if all the heads are Bhagavan's heads, how do we know all heads are Bhagavan's heads? So the theory of creation explains the cause in different form is the effects. And what is the cause? Brahmaji, we think, is the cause. No, there's a cause higher than Brahmaji, that is Mahavishnu. Now that alone is pervading in the hearts of all. That's what we saw. As the Drashta, he is in my heart. So I have to experience my divinity, and I have to treat others also as divine manifestations. So that is the purpose, to understand this. And ultimately one will come to realize that there is no creation. Because different theories of creation will make one wonder. How can there be different theories of creation for one and the same thing? There must be some loophole somewhere. I'm not getting it right. Because the assumption is that the creation is real. So I think that's the purpose.
Okay, thank you so much.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
Swamiji, I had a question.
Yeah.
No, Shruti, are you going
Yeah.
first?
When we say that he is Mahavishnu and he is the Sakshi in me,
he is a sakshi. It's the same sakshi, because it's that tattva cannot be, like you said, it cannot be different from person to person. So is it also, I'm not being able to put my question properly. How does one, I mean, in one way of doing it, can we look at it that when all of this is given, when they're giving the different ways in the Virat Purusha, all of it is, it's also for upasana. Like in those times, people actually did upasana also like this.
No, it can be used for upasana also, there is no doubt. That's why I said those who are doing upasana, for them it is important to visualize Virat as a Purusha, as one cosmic being, and the whole universe existing in that cosmic being helps us to drop our Jiva Bhav. So upasana is one of the sadhanas that a person can practice, a seeker can practice. Here it is not necessarily only for upasana, because that was already described earlier. You see, when Shukdev was asked, Parikshit Raja was asking this, so he already said all this. Virat upasana, the Ishtadev upasana, Guna upasana, all that he already said. Here it is for intellectual understanding, because Naradji is asking that question, because Parikshit Raja also wants to know from where the creation came. Not necessarily for upasana. One can use for upasana, but the whole process is not required for upasana.
Okay, and suppose we are to kind of relate it to a projection, what you were talking earlier in the class. So can it actually be used, the dream analogy be used? Because generally when the dream analogy is used, everything gets done simultaneously. It does not get done in bits, in meaning, you know, like how it is described in time. So for 1,000 years it stays like that and whatever. Because how the dream analogy helps us to understand it, that it's all a projection. And also it helps us to understand, at least it helps me to think in a way that not to get too caught in it, because eventually it's everything is projected. I'm also, and basically everything in the projection. So if I am dreaming a dream and I'm dreaming that this class is going on in my dream while I'm actually asleep, suppose I fall asleep in a little while and I dream this dream, I'm going to be dreaming a whole lot of things that are happening here, which are actually only my head. So which means that every aspect that is happening, the class that is happening, is only a dream and nothing else, which means it's only me, right? So in that sense, how does one relate it to this when they are going so sequentially, of this goes this way and this goes that way?
Oh, we should remember two aspects here. One aspect is that not everybody is ready to understand it as a projection, which requires a lot of vairagya. To reject the entire universe as a projection requires tremendous amount of vairagya, as well as tremendous amount of bhakti and sharanagati. So there are some people who will need the answers from where this creation came, how it came. They need the answer. So sequentially it has to be explained. And sequence also is possible in a dream. Need not be that the dream, we are not trying to compare the dream analogy to say that how dream begins. This is the question to say that. Now, if you compare dream to creation, the question that Naradji has asked is about how do you create. So Brahmaji is giving the sequence. The dream analogy is not to explain the sequence in which the waking entity is going to dream. Dream analogy is to be limited to understand the projection part. One. Two, in the dream, the sequence of the dream we may not know because it doesn't happen as a sequence. But in the dream, sequence is there or not. There are sequence of events happening in the dream possibly.
Right.
So the combination of sequence and projection is what will help some people. Combination or only a projection will help the completely Vairagi person. Only projection is enough. Is not interested in detail. That's the Upanishad seeker is like that. Upanishad seeker doesn't want to know much details. The Uttamadhikari does not need any details at all. He will not even ask about creation. He will ask about one Brahman and realize Brahman and finished. The other person, the Madhyamadhikari, will want to know about creation also. So to him, the theory of creation plus that it is a projection is told sequentially.
Hmm.
First they will understand, oh, this is how creation happens, and finally it will be said, it is all a projection, because how can the infinite create?
Hmm.
Through that, the person's intellect has become quieter, some amount of study has happened, tapasya has happened, so that person is ready to turn within. And then to that person it is said, this whole thing is a bluff, it never happened. So to
Okay.
such seekers, this will help. And for the adhamadhikari, who is not having enough vairagya, not having enough bhakti also, or sharanagati, it will be that now you do upasana of this Virat Purusha. Or you understand that this Ishta Devata that you have is that Narayana, is that Supreme Lord only. So now you do upasana of that.
Hmm.
So that bhav of the totality in the Ishta Devata comes when he understands ki how this Ishta Devata is creating this. So in every Purana you will find ki that particular deity is the supreme.
Hmm.
Like in Devi Bhagavat, Devi will be the supreme. Shiva will be lying at his feet.
Hmm. Oh.
Ganesh Puran, Ganesh ji is the supreme. Now Shivji and Parvati ji will worship that Ganesh ji.
Hmm.
So that for that particular devotee, the bhav that, oh, he is the creator, he is not some ordinary devata, he is not some small little thing. He is the creator because of whom the whole creation happened. This is how he creates. So the bhav will come. So these are for different levels, it will serve as different purpose. The detailing is to help only to understand at which level I am and what I should take. That's all.
So another interesting thing is if we look at it from a realized person's point of view, depending on what state of not state of mind, I don't know how to put it, they are in, or what kind of identification or what the mood of this thing is, they can be like, we've heard you say sometimes where Raman Maharshi or some guru would say that when they heard the Upanishad or the scriptures being read out, they said it's my story. So either it could be from that standpoint, or there can be a standpoint when they read the Bhagavatam and they know that there is no difference. I am only Mahavishnu. And then there is, when they are creating temples and everything, then they're very clear in the knowledge that I am, and they're still devotees of that same.
They are exhibiting a quality which people can emulate. That if such a person is going to temple, then I should also go. But they will see Bhagavan as their self only.
Right. So they are the beyond creation state also they show to us. They show to us as one with God also, and they show one as devotee of God also.
Yeah, all the three.
All three the same person exhibits to us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very fascinating.
Any parent also does it or not? Parent is beyond toys, but parent will still play with the child with the toys with same enthusiasm and energy. No attachment to it. Like that. The Lord also does that. Bhagwan, I mean the realized master also does that.
Okay.
Swamiji, I know you said that the explanation of the creation in the Upanishads and Tattva Bodh and in various other places will be different based on. But in this case, when in verse 23 it was mentioned, you said from the Mahat, which had Sattva Guna and Raja Guna, and from that Tamo Guna. Can we look at it as the Panchikarna which took place?
No, Panchikarna never took place in this.
Okay.
Panchikarna happens where? In Tattva Bodh, Panchikarna happens in the tamasic aspect of the 5 elements, where tamasic aspect of 5 elements divides into 2.
Yes, sir.
Rajas and Tamas mixing to give Sattva, Rajas and Sattva mixing to give Tamas.
Okay.
You see, on this, you know what, I have not seen there must be a deeper commentary on Bhagavatam. Maybe I have to get hold of that. But the books that I have referred, whether it is Akhandanandji Maharaj or Dongre Maharaj or Guruji's book or even, ISKCON ka book, or none of them have any explanation in detail about this. Everybody has skipped this. Or they have just mentioned literally what is there in Bhagavatam. No extra explanation only is there. Maybe if the Sridhari Tika or some such book one gets hold of, then in that possibly they may have some more detailed explanation. I don't know. Because all this is otherwise incomprehensible. Now, how this happens and how this cosmic, and this entire thing is inside the cosmic egg. It is all in the subtle level only. So, Sukshma Srishti. So, to some extent, we are able to understand a little bit here, because in Tattva Bodh also we have understood the Sukshma Srishti happens first, then the Tanmatras come about, Panchikarana, then the Sthula Srishti happens.
Yes, sir.
So, little bit we are able to understand, but otherwise it's very difficult to understand this whole thing, how this is happening.
It's mind-boggling. I think today's class is quite mind-boggling.
The
So
job
I think
it is that only. The mind should get boggled and get destroyed finally.
I think maybe the mind also needs to understand is that I just need to get over this. I have to go beyond this, because this is not possible only for the mind to understand. The only way I can understand it if I go to that level. That is at the level of Ishvara, that is go beyond the mind.
Yeah, there is no other possibility. Now, how to understand cosmic egg and living in water? Now one will say, which water was there? Water is already a part of that anda. Inside that there is water. अब उसके बाहर water कहाँ से आया?
This was really difficult.
Very difficult to explain. Let me see if I later on after the lockdown, if I get some proper verse-wise commentary of Bhagavatam, then in that it may be there. If any of you know any such book, you let me know.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Swamiji, may I ask something? So
Yeah.
when you say from Mahat Anjali Janjamala, from Mahat, Mahat Sattva and Rajas Tamas arises, that means in Sattva and Rajas also there has to be an element of Tamas.
Not necessarily. Like
Then how does Tamas come from there?
simple, na? You eat a green betel leaf and brown supari and white chuna, a red color will come.
Okay, so even in its unmanifest form, it is not there.
Not necessarily.
Like fire is existing in its unmanifest form in wood. So that way it is not, you can't correlate that over.
No, that's a different correlation. That is not like.
Okay. Okay.
Here it is mixing of two which gives rise to. Like if you mix a whatever blue color, yellow color, green color will come. Now can we say that the green color is dormant in the blue and in the yellow? No. The blue and green you mix, blue and yellow you mix, one green color will come. The combination is producing this.
Okay.
And it is difficult to understand how Sattva and Rajas together is producing Tamas. That's why I'm not very clear about that part. So many questions are there actually in this theory of creation. But going by this understanding of Vedanta, I understand one thing clearly, that there is no, there's nothing wrong in exploring and trying to find out, which I will do. But there is no foolproof theory of creation. That is 100%.
Because technically there is no creation. So how can there be a theory about it? Right. Okay, thank you, Swamiji.
Hariom Swamiji.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that Dongre Maharaj or Krishna Sankar Sastri or that era when they were speaking, the society's people's mind were too much bhakti pradhan. So they must have not explained all Vedantic details in their commentaries, because I've heard Dongre Maharaj himself like full Bhagavatam, and I never maybe I was very young at that age, but still I don't remember that they have said anything about this much detailed. They were forming the full Bhagavatam as a story to make people understand that living a value-based life is very important. So that's how they must have not discussed all these things.
Possible. There is no doubt in that. It's possible that may be the reasoning. And also that if you have to cover Bhagavad in 7 days.
Yeah, that is the another part. Yeah. Go
ahead with this detailing.
Yeah.
In Guruji's commentary also, he has just mentioned this comes after this, patak, over, went ahead. No, not so much of detailing he goes through, because you have to cover Bhagavatam, whole Bhagavatam in 7 days. Here, happily, we are going one slok by one slok. Pata nahi kitne janam lag jayenge khatam karne ko. But anyway, it depends on the sadhana also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।